Hello, good morning from Japan. Welcome to today's Good Life Meditation. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily activity that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the challenges and the opportunities that I met. I plan for the coming day. I prepare myself for death, and I describe what I'm going to do, during the next 24 hours. So let's get started. But first, welcome to new YouTube subscribers. Please know that this video is in Japan. I'm at a Japanese convenience store, but it's not necessarily about Japan. This is more like a daily journal entry. I also talk about subjects that sometimes make people uncomfortable, like death. So just be aware that this is a me video and I talk about dying. So not that I'm necessarily dying right away, but we all will. Also, I want to thank you for your support. You bought me my cup of coffee this morning with your views. Also, big thanks to my YouTube members and especially my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to do 3 things in pretty quick order. I'm running a little bit behind today. Big day yesterday, and I had to spend a little time catching up this morning. So I'm going to talk about the last 24 hours and note what challenges and opportunities I met, see how I did with them, talk about what principles I used to address the issues, and was I able to keep in the direction of my objectives. I'll then recite the 8 objectives of my creed to align my North Star, and then I'll talk about the next 24 hours and what I plan to do, which is just one thing. So let's see, for yesterday was a big day. My wife and I took the dogs up to Yokohama to spend the day with our daughter and her boyfriend Tatsuya, our daughter Emily, that is. And it was a big day that really consumed everything from early morning until late at night in a very good way. We went up because Emily is starting her career level job on April 1st. She's been in Japan about a year now, but most of that time she was doing the recruitment cycle thing for the corporations here in Japan, being a new college graduate from America. And it's a long process. And she did get hired by a major corporation here in Japan, and they're starting their induction process on April 1st. So she lives in Tokyo, and she'll be going to the corporate headquarters along with thousands of the company's new hires for 2025 for a big induction ceremony before she is going to be sent overseas for training, and she begins her career. And she's understandably nervous. So Yumiko and I went up to Tokyo to spend the day with her, took her out to a flea market near Shin Yokohama Station ostensibly to look for work clothes, but mostly just to distract her from her thoughts and to let her know that we are there and to let her spend some time with her dogs. So that aside, and you can see all of that in the video that will be uploaded today on YouTube, on this channel later today. I usually upload those videos in the afternoon here in Japan, so this afternoon I'll do that. Look for the thumbnail, you'll see the family on the thumbnail. If you want details if you want to see about the trip. But this video is not about these. This video is not a video about that kind of thing. This video is to ask myself, what challenges and opportunities did I meet yesterday, and how did I do with them? Now, I am notoriously bad for long days of social engagement. In the past, I have been. What I mean by that is I kind of get my fill of the social element, and I had enough. Like back when Emily was small, we would do the sports day thing here in Japan. And those events, they're school events. When the kids are in elementary school, you come together and you spend the whole day together watching the kids running and jumping and doing all these things. It was always difficult for me to attend those things for a full day. So going into a day like this, knowing that it's a full day of engagement, I'm driving to Tokyo, 2 hours up, 2 hours back. We're going to be outdoors all day, attending to the dogs, feeding the family, not eating necessarily the best food, outdoors walking in the sun, hot, cold, etc. I knew that would be a challenge for me, as it probably is for a reasonable challenge for anybody. Witness all the kids crying in the parking lot in the afternoon yesterday during the event. Kids who don't hold it in, right? So just a big kid here. But not so much yesterday. I've noticed this has come about now that I'm 60. I'm older. I've had enough practice with these things. I know what I'm getting myself into as I go into them, and I prepare myself along the way. For example, on our way up, well, first of all, I made sure I got a real good night's sleep last night, and then on the way up, didn't drink any, or did I? I did have a beer the night before. I was planning not to, but I did indeed have a beer. So, but I seem to have gotten through it all right. Anyway, I got a good night's sleep. I took a shower in the morning, which kind of reinvigorates me. Here in Japan, we usually bathe in the evening. On the way up for breakfast, I avoided sweet and sugary things and took more kind of meat. I ate food that I knew wouldn't upset my chemical balance, keep me kind of in equilibrium. And I bought a lot of water, and I drank a lot of water. I didn't drink any sodas, and I was on the alert. This was the key element, on the alert for the signs that I was going down. And indeed, that did happen. About an hour after lunch, we had lunch a little bit early, maybe around 11, and I had a big burger, double burger, from a concession stand there at the flea market, and I could feel myself going down. And instead of just letting it drag me down and wind down, I told my wife and daughter, I'm going to go sit down for a little bit. You guys go on shopping. I'm going to go sit down for a little bit and charge my batteries. And I took Rudy, the white dog, and he and I took the big luggage thingy that the women we were hauling around. And I went and I sat down. I found a nice place on the stairs outside of the Yokohama Stadium there. And I sat down in the shade, holding my dog, and I fell asleep. And I probably slept and it doesn't take long for me to recharge my batteries. I probably was, not fully asleep. I wasn't snoring, but I was, that twilight sleep that you can do, which works for me. I'm well practiced at this, given my fatigue issue, which I'll come to that in a second. Where I would practice pulling over to the side of the road and taking cat naps. Anyway, that did the job. I woke up 15 minutes later, maybe it wasn't even that much, 10 minutes later, my batteries were charged. I texted my wife, I said, I'm coming, I'm catching up with you, and I caught up with them, and they weren't even that much further. And I rejoined them with a renewed sense of energy and spirit and excitement that kept with me all the way to the end of the day. So this was an example of, what I do is you'll see me when I do this exercise, I refer back to the principles of my creed, which is called the good life. This was an example of using maturity to know my own cycle, to know my own where the stumbling blocks would be, and to use reason to set up a plan that as soon as I encountered the signs that I was going down, to then Temperance, use some little fortitude to control my reaction, and social principle, and family, to execute a plan, to communicate to my family my plan for remediation, which I did, and it pulled it off, and it worked beautifully. So I usually give each of these encounters a star rating. They're all positive stars. The fewer than stars, the less the rate. So the worst I'm a half full kind of guy. So the worst I could do is a single star. It means I didn't respond very well. The fact that I survived and earned at least a star. That's a 5-star. That was a 5-star event. I handled that one really, really well, using social principle of reason, and temperance, namely. Next, the next thing that happened was I stumbled across this solution to my driving fatigue. If you follow these videos, you know that I suffer, and I have suffered for over a year, this problem with falling asleep when I'm driving. Not literally, it's not like I just crash out, but I can feel myself going down, and I've known it so well that I always do one or two things. I either pull over and take a cat nap, or I pull over and give the wheel to somebody else. Now, yesterday, going back from Tokyo, driving back, I just came across this idea, and I turned on ChatGPT in the car, and I asked ChatGPT to quiz me about the life and times of Dr. Samuel Johnson based on the book by James Boswell titled The Life of Samuel Johnson, which is a giant 2-volume biography of the great man. ChatGPT, this is the 4.5 version, a little more nuanced than 4.0. The 4.5 version quizzed me all the way back. We had the most wonderful time. I mean, I could have driven to Kyoto. I was having so much fun. And that did the job. I wasn't tired at all. My wife said, "Are you okay?" I'm doing great. Be quiet. I'm talking to ChatGPT. I didn't say that, but that's how it felt. You know how you get so engaged with a conversation with someone and you want more and more. That's what it was. So, hashtag reason for figuring out a solution. Hashtag maturity, again, for spotting and knowing what was coming. And for having a plan. If it hadn't worked, I would have pulled over and let my wife drive, but she was really tired, and it really worked out. Again, another 5 stars. So I had 2 encounters yesterday. My going down during a long day of social event, an outing, and I handled that well using my principles. And the nighttime or the driving issue, I handled that well. Now I've got a solution for the fatigue. That's great. Okay, let's go over the 8 objectives of the creed. First of all, to be always ready to die, to have my affairs in order, my relationships sound, and my life's work complete. 2, to make good and effective use of my time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, namely the objectives and principles of my creed. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions relative to my creed. 6, to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, so I know the scope of my capabilities and what I can and cannot do reasonably. And 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully. And 8, to keep my balance, both body and mind. You can read more about those in my book, Going Alone, available for free to read at goingalone.org. Look for the chapter titled The Good Life. All right, now, last thing to do is to talk about the next 24 hours. Today is an interesting day. It's my first day to visit inbound visitors of the channel. So I'm meeting 2 gentlemen this afternoon in downtown Shizuoka at Nana's Green Tea. If you're in Shizuoka, you're welcome to join us at 11 a.m. at Nana. I think I should probably publish these things. Maybe I'll hold this once a month. Yeah, because this is Nana's Green Tea is where I always meet. It's at Sonova. It's at the Sonova shopping center. It's down in the basement next to the Shizu Tetsu store. It's really good. They have like green tea, coffee, and treats and stuff. So Nana's Green Tea, I'll be there at 11 o'clock meeting 2 people. One is a reader of my book, Retiring in Japan. And another one is a Patreon supporter. So looking forward to meeting. It's the first time I'm meeting a Patreon supporter. This is going to be fun. And that's my only goal for the day. All right. So that's it. I'm going to sign off. Any comments? Oh, there's Robert. Hi, Robert. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now and get on with my day. Wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.